to the entertainment Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I kind of wanted to couple two topics into one. Again, not a very busy news day, but there'll be a lot more news coming out soon with free agency fast approaching. But I wanted to talk about Kyle Van Noy and the rumors that have come out, and the New York Giants seemingly having a lot of interest in him having interest in the New York Giants, and why I think Van Noy is probably going to be a New York Giant, and why I think it's a very good fit, and I'd be happy if the New York Giants were to bring him in. I'm also going to talk about the rumors that have come out about the contract that the Dallas Cowboys are willing to offer Dak Prescott and why I think it'll probably get done. I'm going to talk about the quarterback market in general and how I think it's just gotten out of control and, talk about the contract and why I think the Dallas Cowboys really have no choice here, that they have to sign him. But first, we're going to get into the specifics. We'll pull up some of the figures for the contract and for some of the things that I want to talk about with Kyle Van Noy. So let's jump right into it. There's Van Noy with his Super Bowl championship with the New England Patriots. This coming off the mouth of Ralph Vacchiano. Ralph Vacchiano of SNY Sports says that the Giants have an interest in linebacker Kyle Van Noy, and that said interest may be mutual. And I fully expect it to be. Obviously, the connection, Joe Judge, coach with the New England Patriots. Also, Van Noy, I think, fits the scheme that the New York Giants are looking to run. The obvious attraction for Kyle Van Noy is that he is much more cost-effective. He's played in this scheme, and he showed he could thrive in it. This is going to be the reported asking price. And it could be much more cost-effective for the Giants to try to re-sign Marcus Golden, who had 10 sacks for them last year, and maybe even add New England's Kyle Van Noy, who had 6.5. Both could land in the $12 million a year range, meaning the Giants could get both of them for what it would be for the cost of Clowney or Unique Ngakoue or someone like that. And the other thing, for if you brought in both of these players, they're probably both coming on 3-year deals. I don't think either one of them will probably get a 4-year deal in the open market. Maybe one will, but Van Noy's going to be 29 years old. I think some people might be scared of the fact that he's a New England Patriot and he's probably system dependent. Wasn't great with the Detroit Lions, went to the New England Patriots. They found a way to get the most out of him. So I do think you'd probably be able to land both of these players if you brought back Golden right around that $10 to $12 million range. Where a guy like Clowney would cost you 22, 23, and it might be the better way to go. You bring in a veteran, a guy that has experience in this system. The other thing I really like about Van Noy, go and look, at what he's graded at pass coverage and everything you read and the film you watch. He was graded as one of the best linebackers in football in coverage. He had 60 quarterback pressures, which ranked near the top of the league, 6.5 sacks, and we'll get into the exact stats, but he does a little bit of everything. And here's the numbers. When he was 28 with the New England Patriots last year, in 15 games, he had 6.5 sacks. He had 56 combined tackles. But like I said, the stats don't tell the whole story. The year before, he had 92 combined tackles. But he's not a guy that's going to get you 15, 20 sacks. But he's a guy that kind of does everything well, and he's versatile. And a guy that I think Joe Judge and Patrick Graham would want to bring in. I've read several quotes about Joe Judge liking Van Noy. And I've said several times that Van Noy is the guy that I think the Giants could definitely target in free agency because of his familiarity with Judge and because he doesn't carry that hefty of a price tag. Everything that we've read is that the New York Giants, yes, they're interested in these high-profile guys, but they seem to be out of the New York Giants price range. And I don't necessarily disagree with that philosophy because right now, the New York Giants are not a win-now football team, but they certainly need to plug in some holes on that defense to set themselves up for the draft if they intend to be an improved football team, a team that's ready to compete this year and get better over the course of time. And the smarter approach may be to bring in guys like Van Noy, guys like, McCourty, guys on 2- and 3-year deals that you could then flip and have the ability to extend the players that you've drafted that you want to keep on your team. Now, by no means am I going to be upset if they bring in Clowney or someone like that, but this seems to be the more likely approach that the New York Giants may take. Now, they may sign one player to a 4- or 5-year deal, but I don't expect more than one. Who is that player going to be? Maybe it will be Clowney. Maybe it will be Littleton. But I think it is much more likely that the Giants bring in someone like Van Noy than someone like Clowney. I think it makes a lot of sense being that he's played with the Patriots. He's played with Joe Judge. Joe Judge is all about familiarity. He's all about players that could do a variety of things, and that's what Van Noy can do. I mean, the guy is graded as one of the best players in coverage, and he's good at getting after the quarterback. He's a smart football player. He does a little bit of everything. I think he's definitely on the New York Giants radar, and I think he should be. The next thing I want to talk about was the rumor that came out about Dak Prescott and kind of just talk about the quarterback market in general because this is obviously a problem, if you want to look at it that way, that the New York Giants are going to have to face. Per Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News, the Cowboys' proposal to Prescott included $105 million guaranteed and would be worth an average of $33 million per season. And then what I did was I went and looked at the list of the highest paid quarterbacks in the sport. Right now, Russell Wilson is number one. I think he got 108 guaranteed, which is $3 million more, and $35 million per year. So this would put Dak right in that range. Maybe he'll hold out to try to get a little bit more. But if this is accurate, if this is true, I would think it would be a 4-year deal for $33 million a year, similar to what Wilson got, with a little less guaranteed money, but right around the same. And a lot of people are probably going to say that that's insane. And it is. And a lot of Giants fans are going to be happy, and they should be, but don't get too happy because we're going to have to do the same exact thing. Yes, it's insane to pay Dak Prescott that much money, but that's the going rate for a franchise quarterback. And Dak Prescott has at least displayed that he can win football games. Now, he still has to prove, like a lot of quarterbacks have had to prove, once they get paid and once you don't have that money to shell out to the rest of your roster, if you could still be a winning quarterback. But he's earned that money based on the market. Do I want to pay him that if I'm a GM? No. But to be fair, I have a different outlook than a lot of people. I wouldn't want to pay probably 90% of the quarterbacks in football that kind of money. I'd rather continue to build up the offensive line and draft a quarterback in the 5th year of a quarterback salary unless he was a top-tier quarterback, which I think Dak Prescott's a little bit below that. But I can't get on the Dallas Cowboys for this based on the market. It's what Dak's going to go for. And credit to the Cowboys, like I've been saying with the New York Giants, they built this team through the draft. And I think it's what the New York Giants are trying to do. And the Dallas Cowboys have used their cap space properly. They've used the cap space that they've been allotted on the players that they drafted to retain them on the roster. There are very few players they brought in from the outside. Amari Cooper, if they retain him, would be one of them. They are yet to retain him. They might franchise tag him. But most of the players that they've given a lot of money to are players that they drafted and they kept in-house. So credit the Dallas Cowboys for that. The reason that I think Byron Jones is hitting the open market is because they realize they have to pay players like Dak, players like Cooper, and you look at their cap space, they're still going to have cap space because they've drafted so well and they have so many players on cost-effective deals. They didn't do what the New York Giants did in 2016. They didn't bring in all these guys at free agency and go hog wild, and it's why they still have a good future when it comes to the salary cap, even when they sign Dak and if and when they sign Cooper, because next year you're going to have the CBA, from all projections, the salary cap's going to go way up, and they're going to have everybody already signed. So they're going to be able to bring in more players, and Dallas did it right, and I think the Giants are starting to build that way. And who knows what the market's going to be when Daniel Jones hits free agency. The quarterback market goes up every year. By the time Daniel Jones goes, Pat Mahomes is going to reset the market. When he becomes a free agent, he becomes a free agent before Daniel Jones. Might cost over $40 million. To make Daniel Jones your quarterback going forward. And that's something that the New York Giants have to think about. And it's why I always say sometimes it may be smarter to extend these guys before they hit the conclusion of their rookie deal, because over the course of time, it might be the better way to go. Because if you would have signed Dak Prescott, let's just say 2 years ago, you probably would have gotten him similar to like a Kirk Cousins deal. I think Cousins was about $27 a year. Same with Stafford. I think it was about $27 a year. So the same could be said for Daniel Jones. If you sign him after, say, his 3rd year, hypothetically, or 4th year, it might cost you 35 or 36. If you wait the conclusion of the deal, who knows? It might be 41, 42, 43. So the market only goes up. As the salary cap goes up for these teams, these players get paid more money. So this is what Dak's worth, as crazy as that sounds. A report came out a couple of days ago that Teddy Bridgewater, a guy that had 5 good starts with a team with a great surrounding roster, wanted, I think it was $30 million a season. You look at Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's 9th on the list. He makes $27 million a year. The guy, I think, had 5 starts for the New England Patriots. It's insane what these quarterbacks get paid, but it is the most important position in the sport, and they know what they're worth. But like I always say, I am of the belief that I'm not giving any of these guys that kind of money unless they're top tier talent. And the same could be said for Daniel Jones. I love Daniel Jones, and I hope he becomes that top tier talent. And it's going to be something that the New York Giants are going to have to ask themselves 4 or 5 years down the road, unless they decide to extend him sooner than later, and hopefully that's the case. We want to pay Daniel Jones $40 million a year because that means that he's going to be our guy going forward, and he's our franchise quarterback. But you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that have gotten that second contract, and it gets a lot harder because you lose players because of it. Joe Flacco's a perfect example. Eli Manning's a perfect example. Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan. If you're not an upper echelon quarterback, but you're getting paid upper echelon money, it's very hard to carry a football team. The same could even be said for Aaron Rodgers. over the course of time. And I think he's the most talented quarterback in the sport, when he was in his prime. So it's crazy. The market's insane. I understand why the quarterbacks get paid what they get paid. It's the most important position on a football team. But it's now going to be a challenge for Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys to maintain that level of progress. But because they drafted properly and because they didn't go hog wild in free agency, I think they're going to still have somewhat of sustained success going forward. I think they built this team the right way, and I can only hope that the New York Giants continue to do what they've been doing and sign guys like Van Noy, who I talked about in this video, rather than splurging on a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. I think that's the better course of action. We'll see what the New York Giants do. I know a lot of fans want that, that huge move, and they may get one. Don't expect three. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.